Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Crimes, Killers, Cults,
And beer.
and Beer.
I did it this time.
Oh, man. We were supposed to record an episode today with a guest, and said guest bailed, and we, just something came up, whatever. But, so I didn't have an episode to release, so I called up my buddy Kevin, the History Goon. What's up?
Hey-oh, what's going on?
Yeah, and he agreed to come on and bail my ass out because I didn't want to have, I don't want to miss any weeks this year like I did last year. So,
I mean, it's a good thing I've got 300 episodes from a previous show that I've already written that I can just kind of pull out of my ass and we can do whatever.
That's why I thought of you. I'm like, Sandra, we're recording after 10 o'clock at night and everything. Sandra's a school teacher. She's got to be up really early in the morning. So she wasn't able to join us, but I had to get an episode out. So, and you are one of the most dependable people that I know.
I get that a lot. And, sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. Like if you're dependable at work, that's when it's like, oh shit, this is going to suck, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, so
everybody else is asleep, but you're dependable. It's 11:30. You can come in and unjam a toilet for us. You don't have anything else going on, right? Yeah. Such is life.
I'm in bed with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh no, they'd be like, well, somebody got locked out, so. Like,
okay, so you'll be here in 20 minutes?
Yeah. The sad part is I could finish what I was doing and it's a 12-minute drive and I'd be there early.
Damn. Damn.
I mean, you said it's Scarlett Johansson, so I'm a realist. I know how that would work. It'd be like that scene in Deadpool. How much you charge for an hour? So much. Okay, well, what are we going to do with the other 56 minutes?
Yeah. And I'm surprised I haven't done this yet, but I need to. I've started another podcast.
Yeah.
This is the official. I mean, it's on Spotify. There's already 3 episodes released, and
I think mine's one of them, isn't it?
No, I had to fast track another one.
Because, okay.
Because they're the podcaster that I had on for one of the podcasters I had on that episode just really talked it up on their episode they released a couple days ago. So
okay, that makes sense.
So I'm like, yeah, I got to fast track this one, but but it's called Forget the Date, and it's stories of the worst, most humiliating, or most hilarious dates that people have been on. I pair 2 people up and bring them in, and we tell stories and everything, and we react to them. It's fun.
It really is. I'm not just saying that as your friend and as someone that's been on it. It's very interesting to get the perspective of other people's dating lives. Because mine's been eventful and also uneventful. But I've had a lot of weird shit happen, and to know that I'm not alone is good.
But I mean, everybody's had bad date stories and stuff like that. So, and and you never know what you're going to hear. The first episode is called Titty Trafficking. And I'm not even being perverted. That happened in one of the stories that was told.
God.
The second episode was with Michael and Jeremy Steal Your Podcast.
Aha.
That one went off the rails. And the first one was with Natasha of Cryptids, Creeps and Conspiracies, and with Nora. She's the guest that I've had on several times about covering the troubled teen industry. And then the third episode that I released today is called French Kisses and Fat Tongues. And that one was with Jessica of Texas True Crime and Ivy of Blood on the Cornfields. And the reason, most of the people that I know are podcasters. So, I mean, and plus I want to set, eventually it's going to be open for people to come and, it's like anybody to come in and tell their stories. But by only having podcasters on in the early days, I'm setting a precedence. I'm basically putting out there what I want, because I don't want to get somebody on, that's going to come out and say, we went on a date, he was broke, I had to pay, the end.
Yeah.
So and podcasters know how to tell stories. So there we go. Hence the podcasters, being on in the early going. But
you want stories like, we went on a date, he was broke, I had to pay for it because he went to the bathroom and climbed out a window and took off in my car or some shit like that.
Yeah, and I mean, we want details, So and you recorded an episode with my show's original co-host Todd.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just recorded another episode last night, another one with Todd, but this one was also with Paul, my show's second co-host. It was really freaking cool, just the three of us together. It just, there was something like really cool about that. So, because we've all got different styles, and it was really, they all meshed. Paul's style, Todd's style, my style, they meshed very well together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, if I wanted to start a podcast, like, if I wanted to make CKCB like a 3-piece or whatever, which almost happened with me, Todd, and Paul, it would have worked, because we just, but unfortunately Paul had other things, and so did Todd. So,
we did that for a while on
Intersandra.
Go ahead, sorry.
Intersandra, and she is amazing, but she doesn't want to come on Forget the Date for some reason. I don't know why.
We did that for a while with Dark Windows, my previous show, where it was myself, my co-host Kevin, and my best friend Seth. And eventually Seth left, doing he's doing dad stuff. His daughter at the time was like 3 or 4, so it was kind of really coming into that, like, they're a person now, and we're gonna go do family stuff. So I totally get that. Not mad at him at all about it. We still talk constantly. But it got to the point, man, where it was just me and Seth just busting Kevin's balls constantly. And you could tell he got really frustrated with it. Because, like, I've known Kevin since I was 6 years old. And then I met Seth working at GameStop when I was just out of high school. And we, like, immediately clicked and became best friends. And him and Kevin are, like, kind of like oil and water. Like, they got along fine, but they don't mix well. And me and Seth we fucking ragged on him so much. It was fun, though.
But if you want to, definitely check out that podcast, and because it's fun. The 3 episodes that are out, they're all funny. They're all like great in their own way. But it is not a family show. I will put that out there. Definitely not a family show. But then again, neither is CKCB. So
true. Who you should reach out to about getting on there, because I think he would have some wild stories, is Justin from Employee Number 1. Okay. That dude is fucking hilarious, and I guarantee you he has got some crazy date stories. I would put money on it that he's had some very interesting dates. Also, free plug for his show, because they're really good. It's they talk about industrial accidents and make fun of things.
Okay, I just messaged you Employee Number 1 just because I don't have a pen and paper here, so I've got it so I don't forget it. But scheduled coming up, I have an episode coming up with Chris Long, and if you remember back in episode 53, he was the guy that basically took over CKCB.
Oh, okay.
Probably hands down my favorite CKCB episode of all time. I mean, that was freaking incredible. I've got one coming up with him. I haven't paired him up with anybody yet, but I'm working on it. Got Murder Matt from Murder Coaster coming up. He's bringing he's coming on with a friend of his, Jim Groves. He does a podcast about horror movies. And,
nice.
Yeah, and the two of them are going to come on together. That's just I don't, you know, my board fell off the wall, so it's behind me. So I can't tell you who else I have coming, because I'm not going to just like turn around and look behind me, because contrary to what it appears like on on the video, I am actually sitting in the dark.
I say I don't see anything that looks like a board behind you. I see the backdrop and I see some stuff hanging next to it, but
it's on the floor. It's underneath the backdrop.
Okay. That's why I can't see it,
because it fell. But I haven't put it back up yet. But anyway, yeah, definitely check that out. And if you want to be on it, if you want to tell your story, you don't have to be a podcaster. I'm just using podcasters to get it kicked off, because
that's your network of people.
Exactly. So, and so if it's forgetthedatepodcast@gmail.com, and just send that an email, and we'll get you squared away. I mean, we'll get you scheduled, and I'll get you paired up with somebody, or if you have somebody that you want to bring on with you, that's fine too. Just
hell yeah.
It's a fun time. I mean, I have I think 4 more episodes booked at the moment. So
I mean, I know the one that I was on with you and Todd, we talked for oh man, it had to be damn near 4 hours. And I know you only recorded about an hour and a half of it. And it's probably a good thing, because some of the shit that we were talking about beforehand would have probably got us in trouble.
Well, that's just Todd and me. I mean, it's it would take us, we would hang out and talk when he was on the show. We would hang out and talk for probably 4 hours total, but only record like hour and a half to 2 hours of podcast and everything. The dynamic there, it freaking worked a lot, most of the time.
Then you mix my dumbass in as a third wheel, and it just kind of shit went off the rails pretty quick.
You were having fun. I mean,
I had a blast, man. That was fun as shit. At one point in time before we started, I realized I was the only one not wearing a black shirt. So I was like, oh, hold on. And I flipped my camera up and was like, switch my shirt quick. I'm like, there, now I feel better. I look like a dick sitting here in my red Buc-ee's shirt. Like, here we go. Black shirt. Which isn't hard to do, because I've got like 150 fucking t-shirts, and they're all either like plain black or just like black with goofy stuff on them. But
having Todd and Paul on that episode was incredible. So I definitely, the only thing that would have made it better is if Sandra had been on that one too. But just have everybody.
Big old round table.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm pretty sure in the near future, Todd and Paul both will be coming back as guests from time to time.
Nice.
So it's good that I'm still friends with him. It was great to see Paul again. I mean, because I hadn't talked to him in months, but it was awesome. And Paul's also going to be on a collab episode that's upcoming that you're also going to be on.
Yep.
But more details about that as the time goes, draws nearer.
So, I gotta get my ass in gear for that.
So anyway, damn, that's long digression to start the show off with. But hey, I had to, because I launched another podcast. So.
Exactly. It wasn't a digression. It was taking care of business. It's
right.
Different.
Exactly. Different. So, and by the way, everybody, I am so sorry about last week's episode with David Berg and the Children of God. I had the worst case of the ums that I've ever had since doing this show. And I edited a lot of them out. There's a lot more. There were a lot more than what you hear on the episode. But I missed a bunch too. Yeah, I just don't have time to go. The episode is already released. The damage has been done. I mean, the content on that episode is good. The delivery's good. The story's good. The interaction between Sandra and I is good. But every other word, I don't know what the hell happened, and I'm formally apologizing right now.
Don't beat yourself up too bad. I'm guilty of it too. Like I've got to the point when I'm editing, I can like look forward a little bit in the audio wave.
I know what the waveform looks like.
Yeah, and you go, that's an
Yeah.
that's an that's an
I mean, I say from time to time and everything, but yeah, it's not irritating. It's irritating in that episode.
Yeah.
And like I said, I cut out a bunch. I missed a bunch too.
And I used to think that I did that a bunch because I'm dumb, and it turns out it's not. It's your, I guess it's your brain trying to formulate the rest of a sentence as you're trying to get it out.
Well, what had happened, and I mean, I know what happened, but we got off to a late start when we recorded it, and that was my fault. You know, I wasn't ready. And Sandra had plans for later that afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to talk fast to get through it quickly.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah, so I just it but like I said, it's not like the first two BTK, the first BTK series that I did. It's not like that. It's not just it's good. You just got to get past the ums.
If it makes you feel any better, I recorded an entire episode Wednesday night. I went to edit it Thursday. I made it about 10 minutes in. I went, meh, I don't like this. And I deleted it. So I have to redo it.
I've done that before.
I was like, oh, shit. And it's a good topic. It was just like, I just don't like how this is coming out. And I don't think I can fix it. And I think if I were to keep going, I'm going to lose people on it. And they're going to go, oh, this is the delivery's shit. I'm like, yeah, it was. Yeah. It was bad.
Well, the delivery on the episode was good. So it's like, I'm not, it's not that's not the issue. The issue is, and I hope I'm not jinxing myself for this episode, but luckily I'm not narrating this episode. You are. So
you're just going to screw me with it instead, Bill. Thanks. Oh, God. Well, if it makes you feel any better, this is going to be the most recent topic that I've brought to the table for this show, and that happened in 2011. So
oh, wow.
Because the last one I came on for was 1984.
Yeah, that was a subject that I was aware of. This one, I have no clue who it is.
Oh, and this dude is crazy, like shithouse rat crazy. So I know you've probably gone over this, but you're familiar with the difference between a spree killer and a serial killer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
the Pulse nightclub shooter in Orlando, that was a spree killer.
Technically a mass shooter, because it was all in one area.
It was all in one area. A spree killer is somebody that's never killed anybody before in their life, and over the course of a couple of days, they take out 6 people.
Exactly, and that's exactly what this scumbag did. So Maksim Gelman is born in Ukraine, May 31st, 1987. So he's only a couple months older than me.
Good. Ukraine's in the news a lot. Good pick.
And I kind of forgot about that until I was looking back through this, and I was like, oh shit! Like it would have been the equivalent of me bringing the Munich Olympics up, where the entire Israeli team got slaughtered by Palestinian terrorists. Like, might be a little bit of a hot topic. Let's not touch that right now. But no, I'm pretty sure that the Ukrainian president was still either in high school or acting before at that point in time. So the trouble with him, it's hard trying to find anything in his childhood because Ukraine was still a Soviet country at this point in time. So records are spotty, especially for people in the West trying to find him.
Right.
What we know of him is in 1992, him and his stepfather immigrate from Ukraine with his mother, Svetlana, joining them 2 years later in 1994.
To the United States?
Not real sure. Yep.
Okay.
Not real sure why he came over with his stepfather and not his mom, but it's kind of neither here nor there. Spoiler alert, he doesn't really like his stepdad. We'll get into that, though, as we go.
So put a knife in that.
Yes. Hit the button. Hit the button.
I put them in post.
Okay, perfect. So he would attend Abraham Lincoln High School in Brooklyn, New York, and according to a former student there, pretty unclear whether he graduated from high school or not. And that's because he The other guy said that he wasn't sure if he graduated from high school or not because he was a skateboarder. Not real sure what that has to do with knowing if a classmate graduated from high school or not. It's like, I don't know if he graduated from high school. He listened to Linkin Park.
I'm skating, dude. I got no time for nothing else. I'm just skating and everything. So I don't know. I'm just cheering up the half pipe and everything, and just doing my skating stuff and everything, trying to be like Tony Hawk.
Yeah, and I mean, just to be clear, he was an asshole in high school, so he wasn't real popular. Didn't have a lot of friends. Only had a couple of girlfriends through high school, and that's because he may have been a medical grade psychopath. Not real sure. He never got tested for it, but
let's get him on Forget the Date.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm kidding.
Well, spoiler alert, I live about 45 minutes from where he is currently in his forever home, until they close the prison and they ship him off somewhere else because they're in the process of doing that, which is great.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, right. So he gained a reputation with local law enforcement after being arrested multiple times, mostly for graffiti-related activities.
Hold on. You forgot to do something. You forgot to tell who we're talking about.
Oh, no, I mentioned him. Maxim Gelman is his name.
Oh, my bad. You did.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
My bad.
Oh, no worries.
No, he did not. It was Maksim Gelman.
He's also known for being a kind of a small-time drug dealer, and he would dip into his own supply from time to time, mostly, prescription pills, crack cocaine, and PCP, just to spice things up a little bit.
Fun.
I mean, if Ray Lewis can do PCP, who can't? You know? On the morning of February 11th, 2011, he picked up a kilo of cocaine from a more prolific drug dealer. So basically picked it up from his distributor to go move it on the street. He's crossing the Brooklyn Bridge on his way back into Brooklyn, and he spots a bunch of cars with what he calls, quote, official plates. And he also said that his cell phone battery started dying
What do you mean by official plates?
I'm assuming they were probably like city vehicles, so they had like the...
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, like up here, for us, like...
Well, yeah, they look different. They're like plain, generic, no designs or anything like that, and it'll say like government or something like that on them.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
So like for us, our plates are just plain ass green with white lettering on them. There's really nothing. Like they have a little pine tree. So our official plates up here are just a red plate with white lettering, and it just says Vermont, the number, and then whatever it is underneath it. So it'll be like city vehicle, state vehicle, whatever.
Right.
You know, that nonsense. So I'm assuming that's what he's seeing. He's probably seeing like Department of Water and Power. Being New York City, it could be a pest control truck because all of their shit is done through the city for stuff like that. So after seeing all these vehicles with official plates, he also said his cell phone battery started dying very quickly and that it was calling people on its own.
No, it wasn't.
Again, he's a crackhead that's also doing PCP just for fun. So he's convinced himself that his phone is tapped by the federal government.
You know, I'm not sure yet, but this is kind of starting to sound familiar.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I don't know yet. I don't know yet, but it's kind of ringing a little bit of familiarity bells in my head. It's just like certain things, like the official plates, and then the cell phone dying, and then he thought it was being tapped. I don't know. That seems familiar to me. I may have heard the story, but continue because I don't.
You very well could have, because this was kind of a big deal. So now that he knows for a fact his phone is tapped, he stops his car, gets out, and goes over to the... No.
I didn't think so.
So he gets out, he takes this giant bag of cocaine that he just bought, goes over to the railing, cuts it open and just chucks it into the water. Now he's in full panic mode, drives to his mother's house in Sheepshead Bay, which is in Brooklyn, to get his passport because he has to get out of the country because the federal government is tracking him.
No, they're not.
Okay. Very important.
One of my favorite things about these true crime stories is the delusional people that think that they're like way up here
yeah.
and everything. Like, oh, I'm so important. The government's tracking me. No, they're not.
Yeah, the only government agency that knew about him were the cops that arrested him for spray painting shit when he was a teenager.
Right. I mean, and there's so many of them that are so delusional that they actually think that that's happening, and it's not.
No. So just to put it into perspective, all of this stuff's going on. Okay, gets to his mother's house to get his passport at 5 a.m. So he's been up, just railed out of his skull all night, and it's now 5 o'clock in the morning. He's probably been up for like 36 hours at this point in time, so that's where some of the crazy stuff is coming from in his head. So he gets there, tries to tell his mother, like, hey, I need my passport. I got to get out of the country. And she's like, Max, you're probably drunk. They start arguing. His stepdad, whose name is Alexander Kuznetsov, comes into the kitchen in just his underwear.
Tidy whities or boxers?
Ukrainian in his
probably
40s or 50s. I'm going tidy whities with a lot of chest hair. Maybe a wife beater, but he said it was just his underwear. Yeah. So according to Gelman, he says that Kuznetsov started yelling at him and called his mother a bunch of awful stuff. He's screaming at her in whatever language they use, whether it's Russian, whatever it is. I'm sure it's got backwards R's if you write it down. So again, him and his stepdad never got along, and he also claims that his stepdad was an abusive drunk, which, I mean, maybe, who knows? So as Kuznetsov is trying to calm him down and diffuse this whole thing, Gelman grabs a kitchen knife out of the block and starts stabbing him. Oh. He stabs him so hard, put a knife in that. That after a couple of stabs, he actually broke the blade off in him.
Hit a bone.
Yeah, and he kept going and realized, like, oh, there's no blade on this. So he gets rid of that, goes back to the block, and comes back with a carving fork and finishes him off.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's brutal.
What was Mom doing there during all this?
His mother was standing nearby screaming at him to stop, and then she called the police. That was actually the next line in here. Oh. Okay. So yeah,
I'm not used to being the co-host.
It's weird because if I were to come on and I have the same thing like when the couple episodes that came on with you where I didn't have anything. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. So all in all, he stabbed his stepfather 55 times.
Jesus.
This may come as a shock, but he died on the kitchen floor.
He didn't survive?
No. With a 7.5 inch.
I really thought that he had a chance there.
He could have pulled through.
He could have.
If it weren't for that fork, he could have been okay.
If he had a time machine.
Yeah. So Gelman would later say that since he knew.
By the way, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just broke my own rule of not making fun of the victim. I'm sorry.
I mean, in all fairness, he was probably an asshole, so I'm okay with it.
Okay. Kind of like Henry Lee Lucas's mom.
Yeah, she sucked too. So Gelman later would say that since he knew he was going to get caught, he was going to take down some of the, quote, rats that set him up for the whole thing.
Set him up for what?
Exactly, Bill, exactly.
I mean... it's yeah. I'm glad you chose this one because I really love the delusional.
This dude is out of his goddamn mind.
Yeah.
So let's keep track. We have one dead. Okay, one dead so far. As he leaves his mother's house, could have made it. As he leaves his mother's house, he steals his stepfather's car and takes off down the street. And he runs over a crossing guard and he broke the woman's leg. So we got like 1.5.
Well, the crossing guard do.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Literally. In the road.
So let's jump. Yeah. With a giant stop sign and I'm assuming a reflective vest. I didn't see her. She just kind of came out of nowhere. So let's hop ahead. We'll hop ahead to 10:30 a.m. He drove over to the home of a female friend whose name was Yelena Bolchenko. He said that Bolchenko was his driver when he was out dealing drugs. According to all of her friends, she wouldn't have done that. And she also didn't know how to drive, didn't have her driver's license, stuff like that. So again, who are we going to believe? The maniac that's about to do all this stuff or the soon-to-be victim of said maniac and her friends? And this one's bad. He knocks on the door of the house. Yelena's mother, Anna, opens the door and invites him in because she knew him. She's like, he's a weird guy, but he's an okay kid. She invited him in. So, excuse me. As soon as he gets in, he starts asking about Yelena. He's like, where does she work? What time's she going to be home? All this stuff. And Anna's a little concerned for her daughter. And she's basically tells him, like, Max, you got to go. You can't stay here. You're being weird. You got to leave. And
by the way, I'm still not sure if I've heard this before. I'm not there yet.
The further we get, you may recognize some more details with it.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the first bit of it did, kind of ring familiar, but I'm not sure. Everything you're telling me now, I'm not, I'm not sure. But whatever. Let the suspense grow.
So he decides he's not leaving this woman's house until he gets the answers that he wants from her. She goes into the kitchen. I'm assuming to go to the phone to call the police to be like, hey, there's a psychopath in my house. He follows her into the kitchen and again, muscle memory. Knife block. This seems like a great idea. Grabs a bunch of knives and the largest one that he got, grabs a bunch of knives, sets them all down except for the largest one he could get. I'm assuming another butcher's knife because it said it's a very large knife. And he starts stabbing this little old woman. As he's standing there stabbing her, he keeps asking, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And
if you stop stabbing me, I might be able to tell you, you idiot.
Right? Ow. She's ow. Ow. Stop. Ow. So from what he said in an interview afterwards, she never told him where she was, which shocking.
Seriously, why would she?
Exactly. You're already killing me. Why would I tell you where my child is, you dickhead?
Right. Yeah. It's like, fuck off. I mean,
so here's a quote from this guy. If you didn't think he was a scumbag before, here we go.
I already think he's a scumbag.
Good. Quote, she died in honor. She did not die a coward.
He's not wrong.
True. But man.
No, he's definitely not wrong. She didn't give up her daughter in an attempt to save herself. So I mean,
nope.
he's definitely not wrong. But that, oh God.
Mm-hmm. So that interview was from a I watched it originally on YouTube. It was from a show called The Killer Speaks, which I think was originally an A&E series. I wouldn't swear to it. A&E, maybe like what's that other one? It's a Discovery Channel. I can't remember what it is.
It's a lot on Discovery.
Yeah, there's so many of them. Anyway, that's probably not important. So the reason he gives for looking for Yelena is that she is the reason that his stash house got raided. And he claims that she was either an undercover DEA agent or that she told the DEA where his stash house was.
No, she didn't. And no, she didn't.
No, and no, she wasn't.
Yeah.
This part is kind of fun just because of the weird details that he remembers. After killing Anna Bolchenko, he went to McDonald's and got a strawberry shake and a 10-piece chicken nugget. I don't know if he sprung for the fries and made it a meal, or if he just got the strawberry shake and the nuggets. Don't know if he got sauce or if he dipped the nuggets in the shake.
I have to say something. I mean, him going and getting the nuggets and everything. I swear, every time I have nuggets, I'm tired 30 minutes later. So, from nuggets from McDonald's. So I think there's something, something kind of like a turkey and everything that just has some sort of a depressive enzyme or whatever the hell it is in it that just kind of makes you, like after Thanksgiving, after you eat a bunch of turkey, you're just like,
It's all the tryptophan and Ambien that they cook it in.
Yeah. They cook it in Ambien. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it got to the point to where I stopped getting nuggets when I was driving because it's just like, they make me sleepy. And
let's be real, they're a pain in the ass to eat while you're trying to drive.
Well, I don't,
especially if you got sauce.
I don't dip. I don't dip them. I just sprinkle some salt on them and just eat them.
Just raw dog them?
Yep.
Damn, dude.
But, well, I don't like their hot sauce. I don't like McDonald's hot sauce, and I don't like the way they taste with ketchup. And some of I don't like mayonnaise. I don't like ranch dressing. I don't like It's just like so. It's basically all I can do is raw dog them, as you put it.
See, I'm a sweet and sour guy. That's my go-to with McDonald's. Oh man. They've got probably the best sweet and sour sauce out there, but that's just my take as a fat man.
I am one of the world's most pickiest eaters.
Oh man, yeah, nah. As long as it doesn't have like whole tomatoes on it, I'll eat it. And it's not even that I don't like tomatoes; it's the texture that throws me off. So that's why I've got a problem with those.
Oh, I love tomatoes.
All right. So several hours later,
I'll eat a tomato like an apple.
I'll do that with potatoes. Like when we had when I was growing up, we had.
I have never heard that before in my entire life.
Dude! Growing up, we had like a little garden out in the back. I'd go out and like yank a potato out of the ground, wipe the dirt off of it, and just and crunch into it and eat it. It same with cucumbers, right through the skin. Doesn't bother me. I swear to God, I was born in the wrong century. Like I should have been a fucking peasant farmer in England somewhere,
or Scotland or whatever. I mean,
that would explain some of it.
You would have starved to death at some point, though.
Oh yeah, or died with a pitchfork in my hand fighting for a king.
Right.
Grab your fork, asshole. There's Vikings coming.
Hashtag. Hashtag.
I don't want to, me lord.
It's just a flesh wound.
Oh yeah. Is there some giant Norwegian man eating your face?
Oh God.
Speaking of terrible shit. So several hours later, as Yelena returned home, she got a phone call from her friend saying that Max had killed his stepfather. So she then rushed home and found her mother dead in the house. She calls 911 and reports it. Shortly after this, her boyfriend, Gerard Honig, gets a call saying that Yelena's mother's been killed. Not sure if it's from her or if it's from a friend. If she was like... And anybody out there that has ever had to make a phone call to say, hey, so-and-so has passed away, that's a rough phone call to make. I couldn't imagine if it was a parent that had just been butchered. I would imagine that would probably be a little bit rougher than, hey, Nana died. She was 170 years old.
Right.
So he freaks out and rushes over to her house. As she's waiting outside the house for emergency services to arrive, Max decides to drive back by the house again just to see. Speaking of fat tongues, he decides to drive back by the house again just to see if she had made it home yet. He sees her sitting outside on the phone. He gets out of the car, walks up to her, and then she starts yelling at him. He approaches her. She runs to a neighbor for help. He runs towards her and the neighbor, and he's just swinging the same knife that he killed her mother with. Ends up hitting the neighbor with it and like slashing through his coat. And obviously the neighbor, being a person of normal intelligence, went fuck this and ran off because he just had a knife swung at him.
I was hoping she would make it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he got a hold of her and he stabbed her 11 times with that same kitchen knife.
Knife's probably pretty dull by now.
And he's not done with her yet.
Oh, God.
As she falls to the ground, a witness stated that she, quote, laid face down on the ground as he stood over her, pulled her head up by the hair, and cut her throat. Paramedics said that her throat was cut so deeply that it almost severed her head. So he's in a mood, and he went deep, like ISIS in the desert cutting somebody's head off deep.
Yeah. What was this guy's name?
Maksim Gelman. Maksim is the first name. Gelman, Gelman.
I'm trying something here.
And there's a picture of this asshole that you'll see if you like image search him, where he's in court in his orange jumpsuit with just this dumb grin on his face, and his lawyer's like sitting there behind him, like pinching the bridge of his nose, like, I can't believe I have to represent this animal kind of thing.
All right, I couldn't find the one that you were talking about. I just kind of looked it up as you were talking about it, but I found one with the attorney and with him, and I'm gonna share the screen, just to put it up here on the video. Trying something new on CKCB.
Hey, there we go.
But check this out. There we go.
Yeah, that's probably either right before or after the picture.
Yeah, like a second, like a second before. What he was, what you were just talking about. I mean, the attorney looks disgusted. His hand is up off of the table, so it's on his way to his forehead to facepalm.
Yeah, actually, is this the one? So this is the one I was telling you about. This is actually the image that I used for on Dark Windows. Let's see. So screen, bam. Right there would be the picture.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell that his lawyer is not impressed with having to deal with this idiot.
Yeah, that was literally, the one I showed was literally seconds before that.
Yeah. Either right before or right after, one of the two, but it's pretty damn close either way. And like I said, there's some where he's just doing stuff like this, just looking like a real dummy, and again looking like a real dummy.
Yeah.
And I can't really tell if he's trying to make people think he's crazy or if he actually is crazy.
Well, by the way, people, if you're listening to audio only, it's on the YouTube page. So
yep. We're pushing some traffic around, people.
Yeah, but no, I just learned a new trick thanks to Paul when he was on Forget the Date. So it's just like I think I'm going to incorporate it because it makes it so much easier. You don't have to worry about posting the freaking images online and stuff like that. You just do that and put them right into the video.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, I could do it again so you could look at my grammatical errors for my my notes.
Nah.
Well, I'm glad we had fun for a second because this is going to get worse. So after he field dresses this girl in the middle of the street, he climbs back into the car that he'd stolen, takes off, slams into another car, gets out of that one and approaches the car that he just hit, knocks on the driver's window, And the driver, a man by the name of Arthur DiCrescento, rolls down the window, which is never a good thing to do when there's a man outside covered in blood.
No.
Pro tip, don't talk to that guy face to face. So he rolls down the window. Gelman dove into the car, stabbed him 3 times, and then carjacked him.
You said that he's freaking high on PCP.
Oh yeah, he's out of his goddamn mind. So he then speeds from the scene in DiCrescento's car, hits a 62-year-old pedestrian by the name of Stephen Tannenbaum. Tannenbaum was a rare coin expert who would later die from his injuries. Not that being a coin expert had anything to do with the fact that he got hit by a car going 60 miles an hour.
I feel for the operator if True Crime Can't ever covers this case.
Yeah, because he's going to find so much shit on this guy.
He'll lose it when a coin connoisseur gets ganked in the middle of the street.
Are you on the 1159 Hug Dealers page?
No, I'm not.
Oh, I shared a video that I found of a guy talking about he's got this big 5-gallon water jug full of quarters, and he's like, oh, it's got to be about this much money, and then this guy just cuts in and he goes, here's what you should look for in those quarters, and he's like, you got to find this one. It's gonna have this symbol on it. I'm like, so I just posted it to that. I'm like, I can hear Op breathing real heavy already.
I love Op. He is such. They're both great guys. It's just like when I met them at CrimeCon. I mean, damn, I would throw the picture up there, but I don't have it on my computer.
He seems like a genuinely really good person too.
That's Todd on the left. That's Op next to Todd. That's Kent next to Op, and then that's me on the right.
Kent in his sleeveless shirt and basketball shorts,
Oh, and he was wearing Crocs too.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! we're kind of the same person. I just don't have the whimsical accent. And actually, I don't. Unfortunately, I am sad to report that I no longer own Crocs. My dogs ate them when I moved out of my wife's house.
I've never worn them. I've never worn them, and I never will because I think they look freaking stupid.
Okay, I will tell you this though. Skip the Crocs and get a pair of Hey Dudes. Son of a bitch, those are awesome. I kind of just wear them rocking around the house like slippers almost, but if I have to run to the gas station, I'll wear them or whatever. I don't care. They're super comfortable.
Yeah.
I like them. Totally worth it.
But yeah, True Crime Can't, check them out. I mean, if you, I'm pretty sure everybody that listens to this show also listens to TCK. So,
and check out Guessnicity. That's another good show over on 1159. That's a fun one. Have you heard that one yet?
I'm gonna send 1159 a freaking invoice.
So he just ran down a 62-year-old man in a car that he's stolen. And going back to that interview from the show that I mentioned beforehand, he said, quote, I just heard, this fucking guy, I just heard something hit the roof and noticed a crack in the windshield. I don't even know what happened.
PCP.
I ran over a senior citizen, but I wasn't really paying attention. I mean, obviously I ran over a senior citizen. So just before 1 a.m. on February 12th, Gelman ditches the car and hails a cab. The cab stops.
He's been at this for 15 hours at this point.
Uh-huh.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's and we're not even close to done yet. That's the sad part. Timeline wise, he's got so much more time to pass before this is going to end.
By the way, I don't think I've heard this story now.
Okay.
Nothing else is ringing familiar. There was just something at the beginning that just kind of rang familiar, but nothing else is. So,
no worries. Well, we'll get through it together. It's going to be fun. So he stops the cab, and the driver is a man by the name of Fitz Fullerton. He stabbed him, and he took off because I just got stabbed. He then runs over to a car that he didn't realize someone was in until he got there. Gentleman's name is Sheldon Pottinger. He's waiting for his wife to get out of work. He climbs into the car and stabs him 3 times in the hand.
Doesn't know this guy. Doesn't know this guy.
Nope. Don't know him from Adam. Stabbed him 3 times in the hand. Shoves him out of the car. Well, I'm sorry. He steals the car with him still in it. And as the vehicle reaches speeds upwards of 70 miles an hour, our buddy Sheldon makes the decision that I'm probably going to die in this car, so I may as well take a chance of jumping out of it. And he does exactly that. He jumps out at 70 miles an hour, and Gelman in the interview again said, quote, "I just seen this guy roll out of the car. He did a bunch of front flips and stuff. It was crazy."
He didn't make it.
Oh, no, he survived.
Oh, good.
Yep, he made it.
There was the same scenario happened on an episode, a serial killer that we covered. I think it was William Reese, where a woman just did the same thing, out on interstate, just jumped out. William Reese was part of the Texas killing fields. He's one of the few people that actually was part of that actually got caught.
Oh shit! Okay.
It's a really good episode. I don't know what episode number it was, but it's William Reese. So,
okay. I'll have to hunt that down.
Yeah.
Also, plugging your own show on your show. That's not a bad idea.
I do. Yeah.
So Gelman drove and eventually abandoned the car Jesus Christ, what just happened? Okay. So Gelman drove and eventually abandoned the car and boarded the northbound 3 train at 34th Street. Which is the Penn Station. And that's it, right around 8 a.m. So we've got 6.5 to 7 hours unaccounted for that he's just driving around New York City.
Probably killing other people too.
No, they would have mentioned that if he did. I think this is just aimlessly driving around.
Maybe there were some people that they attributed it to somebody else, or it's an unsolved case or whatever.
That's fair because he didn't remember running over an old man, so... He may have left some details out.
So he's 22 hours in at this point.
Yep. 22 hours.
Yeah, I remember that you said it was around 10 o'clock in the morning when it started.
Yeah. So he sits on the train and he notices that there's a woman reading the paper and there's a picture of his mugshot on it.
Holy shit.
So he's been at it long enough that he's made the news cycle. He's made the newspaper. So here he comes up with a really, really, really piss poor idea. He goes to the front of the train and starts banging on the door to the conductor's cabin, declaring himself as a, quote, official visitor.
I thought you were going to say he was a sovereign citizen.
No, it's just as crazy to say that.
True.
I mean, those people are out of their minds.
Yeah.
So when the door opens, not only is there a conductor on there, but there's also an NYPD officer. And the officer recognized him, and Gelman slammed the door, and the officer retreated to the I'm sorry. He slammed the door on the officer and retreated to the next car back.
But you're kind of fucked now.
Well, he's about to be super fucked, because here he runs into our hero of the story.
Yay.
6'3", 265-pound ticket seller at the Lincoln Station. I'm sorry, at the Lincoln Center. Joe motherfucking Lozito. This guy may have been the bravest man in all of New York City at that point in time.
Is this guy like a former NFL player? I'm just asking because the name kind of sounded familiar.
Well, here's the thing. He looks like he could have either been a biker, a cage fighter, kind of take your pick. He's a big, giant, bald guy, all jacked up. He's a big dude. So Gelman stepped into the car and he makes eye contact with Lozito and points at him with a knife and says,
I'm thinking Lyle Alzado. That's Nope.
So he makes eye contact with Lozito and he points the knife at him and says, "You're gonna die." And our friend Joe disagreed with him. He recalled in an interview, quote, "When he pulled that knife from his coat, It was like slow motion. At this point in time, Lizito launches his bulk at him. Like, he comes up out of his seat, all in one motion from his seat on top of him, trying to take him down. Here's another quote. I tried to shoot in low to get his leg, but I hit him too high and caught him around the waist.
This is on a moving train with a bunch of innocent bystanders in there.
Yes.
Wow.
And a guy with a knife and a brain full of PCP and cocaine.
So he brought a knife to a gunfight.
He brought a knife to a bad son of a bitch fight is what he did. When Lizito hit him, Gelman started hitting him in the back of the head. Another quote from Joe. He hit me in the back of the head. I could hear him grunting every time he swung. I didn't realize it at the time, but Gelman had stabbed me in the head 3 times. After wrestling around on the after wrestling around on the floor for what I'd reckon felt like an eternity, I got up. Lizito gets on top of Gelman and starts slamming his head into the floor until he drops the knife. After Lizito beats the piss out of him, the police officers come face to face with him, and they decide to arrest him at this point. I don't have a problem with the police.
Break his legs, stop the train, put him in front of it,
and fucking run him over. I don't have a problem with the police. Are there bad cops? Yes, but there's also bad fast food workers and bad car salesmen, shit like that.
No, I mean, whatever you're about to tell me, it's justified because, like you said, he was already out on the on the newspaper and everything. Everybody knew who he was and what he had done up until the point to where it was published. So
right,
I mean, they just they're just. I mean, at this point, anything that happens is pretty much justified, especially because he's still trying to kill people at this point. It's just
correct.
So, I mean, it's basically at this point, it's suicide by cop.
Well, unfortunately, he doesn't die. But I think...
Yeah, I just realized that because I remembered you telling me that he was still in prison. But still, it's just like everything that he's done, if they had used lethal force, it would have been justified.
Oh, 1,000%. If he came through here and shot him in the head 1,000 times and dumped an entire magazine into his face, reloaded, and dumped another one into him, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
What I have a problem with my problem lies with the fact that when the officer came face to face with him in the conductor's box, he recognized him. When he left, he didn't go after him. He let a regular citizen handle this guy, essentially.
So, I mean, I get it. The regular citizen wants to do it. He's a big, burly motherfucker that could take this guy down and did.
Right.
I mean,
but
granted,
at the same time,
he got injured. He got stabbed a couple times, but still, it's just, I mean, it's just, this guy's a freaking hero. This the employee,
Oh, no, he was just a regular dude riding the train. He didn't work for the train at all.
Oh, I thought you were talking about okay. I thought you were talking about the big huge guy or whatever.
Oh, yeah, no, the big guy that took him down was just headed to work. He worked selling tickets. Whoa. Oh, my timer. Whoops. Hold on here. Well, I'm in the dark now. It's fine. I forgot that I've got a timer set for my light.
That's the second time that this has happened when you've been on the show.
That's true, and it fucking freaked me out. I'm like, my power went out, but my computer's on. What the hell's going on here? But the fact that this cop has a baton, a taser, and a handgun, and just was like, not my problem, and let somebody else handle it, that's where I have a problem with this particular situation.
I don't think that's the way it went down.
We'll get there. We'll get there because there's a court case.
Oh, the civilian sued?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Continue.
Oh, man. So
this is I'm glad you picked this one.
This
I really
is a
am.
fucked up story, right?
It is.
So at the time that Joe Lozito smashes his head into the ground into the floor of this train, Gelman has been terrorizing New York City for a grand total of 28 hours.
Jeez.
He's bleeding really badly because, again, he's been stabbed in the head 3 times.
Hold on, I gotta ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, were like the gang members like coming out of the woodwork, like looking for this guy?
There was no mention of it at all.
I'm just curious because that honestly, if it happened, it wouldn't have surprised me one bit.
Oh no, not at all. I think had this lasted a couple of days, like where if it had time to continue, I think you definitely would have seen the criminal underworld take care of this guy on their own.
Yeah.
But because it happened so quick, I don't think they even had a chance to.
I was kind of there was a part of me that was kind of hoping that that's how this ended.
Oh my God. If somebody in like one of the 5 families had gotten a hold of this guy and
hell, just even a street gang.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
have the Trinitarios, that like Haitian gang in New York City, have them get a hold of him, they would have hacked his ass up with machetes and left him in assorted dumpsters throughout the area.
Allegedly.
Yes. I'm only 4 hours away, so definitely allegedly.
Yeah. We'll talk after the episode.
Due to Lozito's injuries, when the officer called in, they referred to him as likely. And later on, Lozito asked his sister, who happened to also be a cop, what that meant. And she explained to him that a likely call meant he was likely to not make it to the hospital.
Damn.
He had cuts to the back of his head and his face, one of which took 20 staples, not stitches, staples to close. He also had a cut to his thumb, his left tricep, and his left triceps. He later tried to sue the police department for failing to intervene in the situation. He deserves some compensation for what he did. He took matters into his own hands and stopped this guy from continuing his reign of terror, basically.
I mean, why didn't the cop just do the fucking tough Tony thing? Why don't we just shoot the motherfucker? Tough Tony Bastone from the Michael Malloy story, episode 1, by the way.
Yeah. why didn't he crack him in his fucking dome with that steel baton that he's got with him? You know.
All right. So I see. All right.
See what I mean?
It's making sense to me now. Because I mean, he was just like basically standing there. He's just like, this guy's got it.
Yep.
You know,
he watched everything happen. It did nothing.
And he's got a steel billy club and a fucking gun.
Yes. And a taser and pepper spray. Handcuffs and a fucking radio to call for help.
All right.
In spring of 2012, Joseph Lozito was he'd been stabbed and, quote, grievously wounded. He sues the police for negligence in failing to render assistance to him as he was being attacked. Lozito told reporters that he decided to file the lawsuit after allegedly learning from a grand jury member that NYPD officer Terrence Howell testified that he hid from Gelman before and while Lozito was being attacked because Howell thought Gelman had a gun.
He had a gun.
Yep. In response to the suit, attorneys for the city of New York agreed that the police have no duty to protect Lozito or any other person from Gelman.
God, I wish we had more time to put this episode together. I would have loved to have Vic Ferrari on here on this episode because he was a NYPD detective and everything, and it would have been interesting to have his take on this, and I'm sure he even knows about the case. He could probably
yeah. If he was active back then, definitely.
I'm not sure when he retired. He was on he was on an early, like 2 different early episodes. Well, back in 2023, and and he great. He's an author. He's writing like books about his time in there, and they're funny. They're lighthearted.
Oh shit.
They're hilarious. Um, but God, I wish we'd had time to set this up because I would have totally brought him on. Oh well.
So this next line is really going to piss you off.
Uh-oh.
July 25th, 2013, Judge Margaret Chan dismisses Lozito's suit, stating that while Lozito's account of the attack rang true and appeared, quote, highly credible, Chan agreed that the police have no special duty to protect Lozito or other citizens during an attack.
Hello, to protect and serve.
It kind of says it on the cars.
Yeah.
You know?
Every single police car in the country.
Uh-huh. But unfortunately, that is the case where they don't have to go out of their way to protect you if you're being attacked. Which is fucking terrible. On February 13th, 2011, Gelman was arraigned in a Brooklyn courtroom on charges of murder and assault, where he was represented by public defender Michael Baum, who we saw the picture of before, looking disgusted and confused. While being led from the police precinct to the courthouse in front of a crowd of onlookers and reporters, Gelman showed no remorse, saying that he had been, quote, set up, although no motive for the murders has yet been offered by the authorities.
PCP, that's the motive.
Yes. He did end up pleading guilty to all the charges because I think he was going to try to plead insanity. January 18th.
I wish he had represented himself.
Oh my God, that would have been great. I would have loved to watch that.
No kidding.
January 18th, 2012, Gelman appeared in the New York Supreme Court, Kings County, for his sentencing. Sitting in court next to his attorney, Edward Friedman, Gelman was reported as being, quote, unruly, laughing and yelling at the judge and the family and friends of his victims. At the conclusion of the trial, New York State Supreme Court Justice Vincent Del Guidici, oh boy, I'm going to butcher this Italian last name, Vincent Del Guidici, I don't know. He sentenced Gelman to 200 years in prison, telling him, quote, you are a violent sociopath. Yeah, they didn't allow like video cameras in the courtroom, so there's still shots, but there's no actual video of his court case.
Damn. But
he will spend the rest of his miserable life in a concrete square at the maximum facility, Great Meadows prison in Comstock, New York, which is approximately 45 minutes from where I am now. But I have to update that because I wrote this episode in like 2018. Since then, they have decided to close Great Meadows and scatter the inmates to the wind across the country to different maximum security prisons. He will probably end up in Dannemora, which is like way upstate New York.
Yeah. We covered. I can't remember which episode it was, but Dannemora came up in one of our episodes.
Yeah. So fun story with that. I was working for Orkin doing pest control at the time, and I remember hearing about the prison break, and I just so happened to be legitimately across Lake Champlain from where the prison was.
There was a prison break at Dannemora?
Yeah, there was a couple of guys that broke out. They had help from a female guard. So she was like romantically entangled with both of these guys while they were in there. And their game plan was she was going to break them out. They were going to kill her husband, steal a bunch of shit, and flee to Mexico. One of them ended up getting captured, and the other one they killed in like a bunch of state police.
I think the Dannemora episode that we covered, I think that was Panzram.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense because I'm pretty sure he was there too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that prison's been there a very, very, very,
very long time.
Yeah.
So they caught one of the guys, and the state police and a bunch of like local law enforcement cornered the other one in the woods and killed him. But they were out for like I want to say 6 or 7 days, something like that. And I was out at a customer's house in the middle of nowhere on the lake. Like, I'm going around the outside of the guy's house, and my boss calls me, and he goes, "Hey, so you know about the prison break?" I'm like, "Yeah, everybody does, you know?" And he's like, you may want to be careful. He's like, "I just pinged your phone. I know where you're at." And they have a spotting of them directly across the lake, like in the town directly across from there. I'm like, "Oh, cool.
Yay!"
So I asked him, I was like, "I know that I'm not supposed to carry a handgun with me while I'm at work, but
if I was."
And he goes, "Don't finish that sentence. I will forget that this conversation happened." Like, hell yeah, dude.
You defend yourself.
I had my Glock 19 tucked in my jacket, like stuffed under the seat of my truck, and I was like, because I knew I was headed up that way, and I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's no way that I'm going to let some scumbag kill me in the woods. But yeah, so yeah, he's never getting out of jail, which is good.
Yeah, that's fucking, what a wild fucking story, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that one. I mean, the first part of it, I like, as you were talking, I'm trying to like rack my brain. It's like, what rang familiar to me, and I still can't figure it out. About the plates and whatever it was. I mean, I still can't figure it out. What rang familiar? It was just whatever. It was just something random or whatever. I've listened to so many freaking podcasts. I mean, no, thanks for bringing that. Bringing that story. I mean, you helped me out in a pinch because I mean I'm not ahead at the moment. So
no worries.
When the episode that we had planned, kind of, fizzled, I was just like, I don't want any gaps. So, no, once again, and honestly, you and I fucking work well together.
We do.
So I'm thinking that maybe like once every month or two or whatever, we should do, like, maybe I should go on History Goon with you, maybe tell you a story.
We can figure something out.
Yeah, because I mean, listeners, let us know what you think. I mean, do you want to see more with me and Kevin here? I mean, and I'm sure Kevin would love to be on with Sandra as well, but the episodes that Kevin has been on, because Sandra wasn't able to be there. So
there is one episode that I'm definitely going to have you on because you had me on for it already on your show.
I know which one you're talking about.
Which one's that?
Attack of the Dead Men.
Uh-huh. But the thing is, the way I'm going to work that episode is it's not going to be just that. That's going to be a footnote in the episode. Because there's another Sabaton song involving that.
Yeah, I know. And I if you go back and listen to the episode, I did the same thing.
Yep, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to deep dive because I've got a book about that scumbag.
No, I mean, I'm sure your episode would be more in depth than mine was, but I mean, I covered Fritz Harbor, leading into the Attack of the Dead Men story.
The thing that bothers me with him so much is like trying to find books. There's so few of them, but a lot of them whitewash all of it. And they're like, well, he won the Nobel Prize because he did this and he helped everybody and he saved the world. And I'm like, you're missing a fucking detail where he's responsible
for basically a genocide.
The deaths of hundreds of thousands of people during World War I. Oh, and let's also not forget that he was essentially the grandfather to Zyklon B. Yeah. Ask about 650 million people about Zyklon B and see what they think about that. Yeah,
I mean, it's just, no, that's a great story. I'd be more than happy to come on with you and just be on, like I am here, the co-host.
And I already promised David from Macabre Emporium another episode that I'm like, you have to come on because you have to say the thing.
What's the thing?
Oh, when I cover the winged hussars,
Oh,
because like I knew, like, he explained to me that he was listening to the episode when I released it for Dark Windows, and I knew exactly where he was because I got a message and it's all capitals and it just says coming down the mountainside, and I'm like, he made it to that part. Or I had to break people's hearts and go, man, it wasn't that dramatic, because they didn't just come flying down off the mountainside like in Lord of the Rings when the Rohirrim show up and fucking smoke all the orcs on horseback. No, they had to kind of like pick their way down the hill because it was rocky and shitty and stuff. But then they
hit the gas.
Yeah. And like the Ottomans were real dumb because they're like in trenches at that point, and they see 20,000 men on horses and armor with wings coming down off this hill, and they come up out of the trenches and go, we got this, and stood there and just got their shit kicked in so badly. That is the largest cavalry charge in the history of the world.
That's even worse. That's even worse than the hey God, well, I'm not going to be on that episode, so screw it. But but that's even worse than the frickin' the English back in like the 16 and 1700s, where it's just like, all right, you shoot our guys, then we shoot your guys. That's even worse than that. I mean, it's just like, I'm sorry, if I was on there, it's just like, I take my shot, I'm dropping to the fucking ground.
Yep.
And I probably would have been court-martialed for it too.
You want to hear some wild stories? Is look into the French during the beginnings of World War I, where a lot of the French officers who were officers because their fathers were officers during Waterloo wore their fathers' uniforms into combat, like red pants, blue jacket, white gloves, hat, all that shit. And they would get into the trenches, and they were not expecting trench warfare to be trench warfare. And they would come up out and stand there and go get them, and get shot in the teeth with a machine gun, because that's how war works now. Box formations are dead.
Yeah, it's just that's just so freaking stupid. And the crazy thing about it was the way that formation worked. Like, we stand still, you shoot at us. You stand still, we shoot at you. They would only do that 3 or 4 times, then it would break out into all-out warfare, like hand-to-hand combat and shit. Why not just do the hand-to-hand combat shit?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sorry. It's just that. Oh my God. Yeah, the military lack of intelligence there. I mean, it's just.
Yep.
It just. Yeah, let's just siphon off like, several hundred of our soldiers just because, before we actually start the real fight.
Yeah. Stand here and don't move while a 30-pound cannonball comes flying at you and hits you in the chest, because you're not allowed to move. Oh
yeah. I mean, it's just like, we were talking about a time machine earlier. It's just like, send me back to one of those fucking war things, with like a shitload of ammunition. I'll just drop down in front of the side that I'm on and just start going.
I mean,
all right, that's our folly. That's our folly. Yeah, I mean, all right, take that. I just killed your entire army with a machine gun.
Yeah, go back to like the Revolutionary War with a lever action rifle. You don't even have to be super high tech, just a lever action, and you're gonna fucking kill everybody.
Yeah.
It only holds 7 rounds, but they're going as fast as you can work the lever,
Hell, not even that. Go there with a fucking 9mm.
Yeah, go back with a handgun.
Yeah, a 9mm and a duffel bag full of fucking clips.
I cast a fireball. Fuck you.
It's like bang, 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 bang.
And then they burn you at the stake for being a witch.
Yeah. A witch.
Actually, if you want to see something interesting, I don't know if you're into like video games at all or not.
Mm-mm. I don't have the time.
When you get a second, hop on YouTube and look up a trailer for a game called Kingmaker. It's a special forces guy that gets pulled back in time to like medieval England.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You have all of your gear with you.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You can open the portal and call for reinforcements and bring helicopters in. So you can just have like a fucking Apache flying in and hitting dudes on horseback with Hellfire missiles.
My freaking jaw is on the floor because it's just like, it's just like I'm a writer. I have a lot of ideas flowing through my head. I have actually envisioned that scenario of like a, damn it, somebody beat me to it. Fuck!
I've got one in my head that I'm going to start working on because I have to, every once in a while I'll get like a wild hair across my ass to write a story because I'm like, I can write a book. Yeah, it's easy, right?
No, it's not.
No, I know.
I have two in the works right now, and it's just, but that's going to change. That's going to change. I'm going to have a lot more time coming very soon.
Yep.
So
that's good though.
Yes.
And like, I'm like, I got to get this out because I want to do like Indiana Jones meets Band of Brothers, and then you mix in supernatural shit and the Cthulhu mythos.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I could do this. I could do this. I could make this really good. I want to do it. And, just have to have time to write a book and produce
Cthulhu. La 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 la. Cthulhu.
By the way, I've got to have time to work 40 hours a week, produce an episode of a show once a week, write a book, and be a dad. It's easy. And I can do that, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Oh, damn. Oh, man. Anyway,
yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Appreciate the hell out of it. Thanks, Kevin, for bailing me out this week.
Always.
And I hope y'all enjoyed this episode as much as I did, because I mean it was really fun. Well, it's a horrific story, but
yeah,
but it was really fun, and hope we made you laugh. Hope we whatever. Anyway, if you follow us on the socials, follow History Goon, although his podcast isn't out yet.
Not yet. We're working on it. I have to build a backlog.
I know. But
I do have a Facebook page. You can go on Facebook and go to History Goon Podcast and go look at all the stupid history related memes that me and my friends share.
Yeah, and we'll I'll link that in the episode notes, just like I did before. But you need to freaking get that podcast.
I'm trying, man. If I hadn't had the flu for the last 2 weeks, I would have had them done. But I was like, this has been like the first few days where I've actually felt decent, because like I got that norovirus that was going around, and then I was back to work for about a week feeling okay, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die. So
yeah, I mean,
the joys of working with the elderly.
Well, I mean, I'm just, it's just like, forget the date's only on Spotify right now, and it's just because I haven't had time to like do what I need to do to get to the other platforms and everything.
And let's be real. Let's tell the people, like, we'll pull back the curtain and show you how the sausage is made as podcasters. Doing anything with Apple sucks.
It does.
And unfortunately, you have to, because that's where like 70 to 80% of the audience is on Apple.
Yeah, our audience is the majority of it is Apple. The second is Spotify.
Yep. Yeah,
so.
I will never own another Apple product personally. I don't like them. I don't like how any of their stuff works. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's a cult.
It is. Just like Jeep drivers with their stupid rubber ducks. There, I said it. Hot take.
Oh, man. God. Anyway, no offense to Apple users and everything. It's
offense to Jeep drivers.
Hey, I'm pretty sure I have listeners that are Jeep drivers. So you know
No,
what?
I'm kidding.
You keep your
Just
rubber duckies. I love driving by one and seeing like 30 fucking rubber duckies on the dashboard of a Jeep. I
I
love
will
it.
say this. I used to work as a service advisor at a Jeep dealership. What drives me nuts is when people will buy a Wrangler and treat it like a luxury vehicle.
Yeah.
Don't. Just go beat the shit out of it. It's a
Yeah,
Jeep Wrangler.
that's
That's what they're
what it's
supposed to.
made
That's what
for.
they're made for. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a Grand Cherokee, like where you're not supposed to take it off pavement. It's a Wrangler. Beat the shit out of it, please.
But what kills me is, I read the article that you sent me about how the rubber ducky thing came to pass. But it's only Wranglers. But I
Yes.
see people with fucking Cherokees with
Yes.
rubber duckies on their dashboard and everything. It's just like, you're doing it wrong.
I've got a compass. I can put ducks in it. No, the fuck you can't. Stop it.
Yeah. No, it's only for the Wranglers.
God, I hope every time you get out of that thing, you step in a puddle.
Yeah.
Take the damn ducks out.
And you know what? I'm just gonna really condense it, because I'm sure that there's people listening that see that and wonder what the hell it is. So I'm just gonna say, back in 2020, there was this woman in Canada, and it's actually a pretty cool story of how it originated. But there was this woman in Canada who had a Jeep Wrangler, and she saw another Jeep Wrangler. And it was during COVID, and she got this idea. She's just like, I'm just going to start leaving rubber duckies on Jeep Wranglers. And that's literally how it started. It caught on.
Yep.
And it's really freaking amazing how that happened.
I don't know if you ever saw the.
It's just it's just stupid.
There is a picture floating around where some guy apparently had enough of it, and it's we'll put a warning out on it if you ever find the picture. He found a dead duck and stuck it through the door handle of the guy's Jeep because he didn't have a rubber duck, so he put a actual dead duck on his Jeep.
That's horrible. It's hilarious, but it's also horrible.
It's fucked up but funny, kind of like if you've ever seen somebody tie like a get well soon balloon to a dead animal on the side of the road.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe that's just the white trash shit that we do up here for fun.
No.
Like a dead raccoon with a balloon tied to its paw, get well soon. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. The episode is over. The people that don't care about digressions and everything have already clicked, turned it off. I gotta tell you a story. I was coming back from Miami yesterday on the turnpike, and I get to this spot on the turnpike where it's just swampland, woods. There's nothing there yet. But
yet being the key word.
Yeah, there will be at some point. There's probably already architects developing land there. Whatever. Just get we're full. Florida is full. But I get to this traffic jam, and I'm like, okay, I check Google Maps and everything. Okay, it's not long. I'll be here 2, 3, 4 minutes or whatever. So I'm going up, and everybody, the people in the left lane are merging into the right. It's only 4 lanes, 2 on each side at this point. So yeah, obviously, if it's the turnpike, you've only got 4 lanes, 2 in each way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Welcome to the Vermont highway system. It's two lanes each way.
Oh, believe me, I know. I've driven through there. But
welcome to nowhere.
But so I'm getting closer and everything, and I start to realize I see a cop car on the shoulder, and I see another cop car in the left lane. But I don't see any frickin', I don't see any wrecked vehicles. I'm like, okay, what? At that point, I'm thinking, it's like, oh my God, there's a dead body.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody was trying to cross the road and got like splattered or something. That's what I'm thinking. And, why, I don't know, whatever.
It's Florida. I mean,
yeah. So I get, finally I get up and I see something in between the two cop cars. I see something. It's definitely a body.
oh God.
So I go, I creep forward and all that stuff. I get even closer. It's not, it is a body, but it's not a human body. It's a fucking alligator.
Oh, it's a dinosaur on the road.
and I, and as I got closer, I'm like, okay, so it's a freaking alligator. I'm like thinking, okay, an alligator got splattered. Why are we stopping traffic for this? But as I finally got up to it, this alligator's alive,
Just chilling in the road,
uninjured, just chilling right there on the shoulder, and and the cops were sitting, the cops were, like basically protecting it from getting hurt, and they probably had a trapper on the way to come get it and everything.
right?
And that gator that night probably wound up at Gatorland, but still, it's just like, I had never seen that before. I was just like, it's a fucking gator. Yeah, it's a freaking. It was a 6-foot alligator. Now, granted, that's 6-foot alligator.
That's big.
It's big, but they double that size.
Yeah, I mean that's a big alligator for Vermont. I mean, I don't know what you guys have down there, but up here they don't get much bigger than 6 feet.
You don't have alligators in Vermont.
No, no, we don't.
But I mean, I had never seen that before. But the crazy thing about it is, that fucking gator had come from the swamps, the swampy area that was on the right side of the turnpike lanes, come across 2 lanes of traffic, and wound up in the median.
Jesus. Oh my God.
It's just, I had never seen. I mean, I see gators every day, but I had never seen that. Yeah, it's just like, but really what happened, I think, is just like once the gator started getting close to the road, people started slowing down, and then once it like inched into the road, they stopped, because if you hit a 6-foot gator going at highway speeds, it's gonna fuck up your car.
Yeah, I mean, I could almost see it like flipping you.
Could be if you hit it the right way. I mean,
I've hit raccoons and come off the ground in a car before. I mean, it was a Honda Accord, but I hit it at about 40 miles an hour, and I felt the front end come up, like front wheels come up off the ground.
And we're doing,
like, damn,
we're doing 70 plus.
Yeah,
and it's just like, I never see it. The gator's just sitting there chilling. Yeah, I'm gator. Gator just chilling,
just doing its thing.
Yeah, I mean, there was no blood. There was no blood trail. I mean, the gator hadn't gotten hit by anybody. It was just chilling. Just I'm a gator, just doing gator stuff.
Yep, sunbathing and shit.
Sunbathing, and I really wanted to pick up my phone and get a video, because I would have sent it to OMG, it's Wix. But I'm a truck driver, and if a cop had seen me, creeping by at like 3-5 miles an hour or whatever, seen me like videotaping or whatever, he would have just looked at me, pointed, and said, "Pull over!"
And
then they would have radioed somebody else in. "Hey, come get this guy. He was on his cell phone." The semi-truck driver.
Get the DMV cops out there.
Yeah. So I wanted to so fucking bad, but I'm sure Wix will get his hands on that video at some point. I'm sure of it. I'm sure people have sent it to him, because, I mean, anyway. Thanks for listening, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, 5-star rating, all the stuff.
All that.
If you like us, tell a friend. If you hate us, tell an enemy. And until next week, check out History Goon as well.
And I'll tell you what, next time I come on, just to spice things up, I might actually do something history instead of crime.
All right.
Because the two that I've brought to the table have both been, I'm like, oh, I'm going on the crime show. I've done crimes. Let's do crimes.
Yeah. And until next week, later.
Bye.